Thanks for watching. This is a video that I've been asked to do and I haven't done, and I'm doing it today. It's all about the weather and how to handle the cold weather and how to handle the warm weather. And it doesn't have to be in an RV. It can be in a car, it can be in a van, and it could be just bringing your kid to the soccer practice. So let's get to today's video. So for this video, I just want to explain that what I have is a 4-season RV. It's going to make a big difference when you are traveling in different types of weather. And that's what a 4-season RV is. That means that you can travel in the cold, you can travel in the hot, and it's well insulated that will support all of those different weather changes. Like when I go to the desert, I'm able to withstand the heat and the cold there because there's a lot of variety there in one day of different types of weather. So that's a good thing for me because my other camper that I had was not that kind of an RV. So I did notice the difference when I purchased my truck camper and it's 4-season. It usually keeps cool during the day, even in hot weather, but there has to be circulation of air in there. So that's why I keep my fans on inside the RV, and I make sure that my fantastic fan is always blowing the air out of the RV. So it's sucking the air that's in the RV and it's sucking it out. It's not blowing down air, hot air into the camper. It's actually taking all the air inside and blowing it up. So make sure you have it in reverse so it's blowing the air out of your RV, not in. Just like you would in your bathroom fan, you want to make sure your fan is working in reverse because you want it to suck the smells and the air out of the bathroom, right? So that's the same thing you're going to do in your camper. My experience on the road has been that because I've been through so many different types of landscapes and types of weather, I really had to learn, and I did this by experience, not really knowing anything. It's just kind of figuring things out for myself. So in this video, I'm going to give you some of those tips that I've learned. So my experience has been that when you're dealing with hot and cold, that means you're basically going to be dealing with what is weather, right? So because weather is important when you're nomadic, it really changes your entire day is the weather. You should have some good apps for knowing the weather, and you should pre-plan in advance. In other words, if you know that there's a storm coming through the area you're at in a few days, you should probably start moving to another area, right? So it's important whether you're in a van, living in a van, or living in a car, or you're living in your RV, or you're just traveling for a road trip. So it's important to get good weather apps that will also let you know if something is coming in the next couple of minutes, like a major hailstorm or something like that, where maybe you might have some time to get undercover, which is what happened to me, that I lost my travel trailer as a result of the hailstorm. Definitely get yourself a good app. You can get the weather app. I like to get AccuWeather. That's a good one. Just basic free app that's going to catch your location. Like most of these apps, you do have to open them when you arrive at your location so that it can give you notification if something were to happen there. So the other thing is my RV also has solar power. So I am able to work regular fans like this. I have one here. This kind of a fan works off a regular outlet, but this is the kind of fan, you can get this at Walmart. I think they're like 14 bucks. This is a really good fan. I use it at home all the time when I sleep at night. I run this and I run a ceiling fan so that way I can turn my thermostat up a little bit at night and not have the whole house so cold when I'm only in the room. There's only me in the room over there. So I keep 2 fans on over there. Sure keeps my room nice and cold. But a fan like this, it's what's going to save your butt in the event that you were traveling and broke down somewhere and it was super hot and you had to spend the night. For me, I have solar, so I can plug a fan like this in, but it is going to suck a lot of power, especially at night if my refrigerator is working off of solar. It's using the battery because no solar is coming in, so it's working off the battery. So I do recommend a battery pack like this, which is the Jackery, so that you can power up your fan. You can plug it right in to the outlet and turn it on, and it will power up your fan. As you can see, it's powering up the fan right now. So something like this is going to be awesome, and I'll tell you for what. If you're living in your van and you're dealing with a really hot night, a battery pack like this can help you to sleep at night. It's going to make a huge difference in your life. It's also great if you're a soccer mom and you have work to do or things to do inside, or read a book or something, and you have to be in your car to get some work done while your kids are playing. You can also have a fan blowing on you. If you have an RV, it's a great backup to have, because you can power up a fan at night if you're boondocking. If it gets hot like me, this is what I use. If I'm boondocking, I would use a fan like this. I've purchased other fans, which are USB fans, and those are great for circulating air, especially in my loft up at the top, because the hot air rises and up there it's usually hot. So I'll have the windows open, but having two little USB fans up there is great to kind of circulate the air, move it around, so it's not just like hanging heat up there over my bed. But those are not the kind of fans that are really going to cool you at night. Something like this with a lot of power. If you were in your van or a car, definitely I would get a battery pack like this. Now, to charge this up, you can charge this up while you're driving, or you can go to a Starbucks or coffee place and plug it into a regular outlet and charge that up. So if you're there drinking coffee and eating breakfast, you can be powering something like this up. This is a bigger one. This one's 500 watts, but they have smaller ones that you can fit into a handbag, about 250 watts. That'll run a fan overnight. Definitely, you know, to keep cool in the summertime, the best place that you want to be is in the shade, right? You always want to park under the shade, and not all places are going to have shade, but if you have to move or do something and you really need that shade, then you're the kind of person that might have to move earlier in the day in order to find a place with shade, rather than by the time you go to some place in the afternoon, all the shady spots are taken up. So you're going to want to think about things like this. Plan your day. I like to have a planner, and I plan my day, you know. So those are the kind of things that you're going to think about. You're going to think about your day. You're going to write down with intent what you're doing, what you're planning, where you're going. Make sure you write these things down so that you can clear your head in the morning and travel comfortably, so that you know the time of day. Like for me, if it's super hot out, you know, and it's cool in the morning, well, I'm not going to be in my car driving during the coolest part of the day. I'm going to be in my camper, cleaning the refrigerator, maybe brushing the pets, walking them, taking a walk, going shopping, doing things like that, because it's cooler in the day. But once the heat of the day comes in, that's when I'm going to get in my car and travel, because I have good air conditioning system in my car. And I don't have to sit there, you know, and turn on a fan and just be sitting there idle. I'm going to be moving during that time, which is the heat of the day, so that I'm not just moving, but I'm also air conditioning myself. So it's important for us to think about these things. Well, when we travel, weather is really going to affect us a lot, and it's going to affect us to make us comfortable or make us miserable. And you definitely don't want to be miserable. The other thing that's important with me is the bedding. The bedding is super important for me because I've slept before. We're talking about hot weather now. I've slept before on my sheets and my bed feels still warm, but I bought this comforter in IKEA by accident. When I was in IKEA, I saw it there and I purchased it, and it works like it says it does. I sleep on it now. I don't even like take it off my bed to sleep if it's really, really hot out. I sleep on it because that's how much cooler I feel on it than I do on regular sheets. And this is not like a gel cover or anything like that. Trust me, you do not want to get a gel mattress if you have an RV, because if you go somewhere cold, your mattress is going to get rock hard. Trust me, I know. So you definitely don't want to get anything with gel in it, because it's not going to be good for you in different types of weather. You can order this from IKEA. They have it in several sizes, but it's nice and thin. It's light, and you can layer your bed with something like this. So in the winter time, I could use this layered with a woolen cover and maybe another fleece blanket over it. And I did a video on layering your bed, and that to me is the most efficient way to travel, is layering your bed, especially if you're going from hot to cold weather, or during the morning it's cold and then in the afternoon it's hot. You want to have your bed layered so that you can remove layers as you need during the day. If you have a generator on board, run your fans or your AC with something like that. But in most places, at least a lot of campgrounds, they don't allow you to run your generator after a certain time. So that means that 11 and 12 o'clock at night, you're hot, you're gonna be hot. So that's why it's good to have something like this as a backup. Recently, I've had to take Muffin to the doctor and bring her in my van. So when I'm sitting in the van waiting for the vet, because we're not allowed to go into the vet's office yet. We have to wait outside in the car, and in Florida, it's pretty hot. So I bring the fan with me, and we just sit back in the back, we sit in the back seat, in the middle seat of the van, and we just wait there, and we have the fan on us, and it makes a huge difference. We park under the shade, and we also have this. So parking under the shade and having a fan like this is really gonna make a big, big difference in your life. The other thing also that helps me a lot is having reflectix. I have a huge roll of reflectix in my truck. If it's hot or it's cold, I can use the reflectix to put it on the windows. Now, reflectix comes in a roll, and what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to cut it to the size of your window, but then you can roll it up and just keep it somewhere in the trunk of your car or under the seat, so you have it available. So if it's really hot out and you're in a car or a van, you can run your AC, put up the reflectix, right? You don't wanna go out anymore after that. This is like your bedtime, like you shut off the car and now you're going to bed. Because if you open the door, the heat's gonna come in. So now you're shutting that off. And what you can do is your reflectix is covering all your windows. So now it's going to stay cooler in there for longer. And having a fan like this also is going to keep you cooler for a longer time, where you might have to turn your car on every hour to cool off in the middle of the night. You might not have to do it for maybe 4 hours, depending on how hot it is. But that's gonna be a lot more comfortable for you than it is having to get up all the time to turn on the car. In the winter time, the reflectix also works because it keeps the cold out. And I've used it when I've traveled in the desert. So that's why I travel with it year round now, because I never know when I'm gonna need it. In the winter time, I also use a Mr. Buddy. If you have a van or a car, you can also use a small size Mr. Buddy, which works off of the small propane cylinders, and then you can run the little heater for a while just to keep you warm and take the chill off, and then you can go to bed. Now you're gonna definitely wanna keep the heat inside, so having the reflectix inside during the winter time is great, because now once you've warmed up the RV enough, middle of the night, if you get cold, you can turn that on for a little bit, in order to warm up the RV for a little bit. Because sometimes you're in places that are stealthy and you don't want to give yourself away, so you don't want to turn on your car to turn on the heater, right? And sometimes that heater takes a while to go on, so you're wasting gas waiting for the car heater to go on. But having a Mr. Buddy is great because right away it just starts warming. Sure, you get a small one if you have a small vehicle. I have a truck camper, and I found that the smaller one was better for me. Also, during the day when the sun comes up, you want to warm yourself up, take all the reflectix off your window, because the sun pouring in to your car, your van, or your RV is going to help warm everything up. And definitely if there's any moisture in there, it's going to dry it up quickly because of the heat that you've been building up in there. So there's like steam inside your car. So you want to open the windows and make sure that the sun comes in and dries everything up and makes you nice and toasty and dry. All right, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And I'll link below the video that I mentioned about layering your bed. I'll link that down below. So I hope you all have a wonderful week. God bless, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.